Hey, we're back and it's Celica time again, this time for an engine mount. The reason we're doing this is because it has a vibration through the body which has been irritating me since I've been driving it. Now, Dad did one of the engine mounts, I believe, or two of them, but left with this one still to be done. Now, this I've looked up is the back engine mount, which is apparently the harder one to get to, which lives behind the exhaust. I've never done this. It looks simple enough, but I know that some of these things can be fidgety. We're gonna have to move the engine up and down a bit to get the old one out and this one back in. Now, car's on jack stands. Let's get into it. So I can just see it from here. It mounts to the back of the gearbox. And it's just this bolt. Maybe I think there's access through the holes for the others, but yeah, so it's just here. Yeah, that's a good view of it. And you can kind of see the bolt that goes through it there. It just kind of sits up and mounts to this. As a side quest thing, this car is oily as hell, so I'm going to clean it before I start anything. Okay, I know it's not perfect, but it's a lot nicer. Now, like I said earlier, main bolts are going to be this, and there's one in here. No, one in here, sorry. Should just be in there. I need to feel, is there one? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. To get out our friend here, we're going to need to loosen that exhaust from those two bolts there, take out the oxygen sensor, take off the exhaust hangers, and just drop the back of the exhaust so that we can get this out the back. What's with all this rust? Oh, glad we're cleaning that out. Two bolts there are loose. The oxygen sensor is out. Now we're just taking these off. I've lubed them up, so it should be able to come out fairly easily. Slide them back and the exhaust will drop. Enough for us to get that out. Or am I gonna have to take this whole thing off? So I have also taken off the wheel, and we're looking at that bolt in there. That's the one holding the engine mount. So I'm gonna support the engine from underneath and get that from here. Okay, back of motor supported, engine mount loose. So now we'll just completely take that bolt out and should be able to maneuver it enough to get it out. That's the guy. Okay, I thought the whole exhaust would drop off, but it didn't. So I'm just gonna push it out of the way, and hopefully that leaves me enough room to get our friend out. Okay, we have an issue. I don't think I got everything out. That's out. That's not out. Silly, Matt. Well, now it's moving around easily. Okay, but how much is this going to fight? Alright. It's backed out easy. Front's out. The front's still in. Why doesn't the front just come out? Oh, because the stud's here. Okay, I've heard people taking the exhaust off, but I've never heard of taking the exhaust heat shield off. Thing is, it is binding on the heat shield, so let's get this off. Okay, how about now? Front off, back off. What are we on? Now what? These brake lines or something? Hang on. Get that up. Okay, I've tried a lot of ways, and it feels like the exhaust is going to be the only way this is going to come out properly. And the reason I say that is because this is impossible to get out even without the extra little top section that exists on this one here. I guess it must be a super session, but this doesn't even exist on that one, and I can't get that out. So that was pretty exhausting, mostly because I tried to get the hangers off and I failed, and then decided to just unbolt it from the two simple bolts at the flange. Let's see how easily, if it's easy, for this to come off now. Lift. Lift. Everything's in my back. Working on the floor sucks. Get out of there. Wow. This really does suck. Come on. Okay. There's no exhaust in the way, so we've got a little more movement available to us. It still sucks a lot. Well, I think we've made progress. I think. No, I guess not. That took me like an hour and a half of fidgeting. Sorry if I'm retarded, but that was a bitch. You didn't get to see how fired up I got at this. But that is now it. Dinner time. That's what I f***ing thought. A little bit of WD-40 in the bolt holes. You don't want this shit to be rusty, so I've just put copper grease over the whole thing. This was the old bolt that was all rust and orange. Alright, so we can't forget our little gasket. When putting the oxygen sensor back in, we need to rotate it quite a few times in the opposite direction because of how many twists it has to do to go in. And then hopefully when it's done, all the wiring is straight. So this is the first drive since I've done the engine mount and it feels a lot better. The car in general just actually feels so much smoother. It's quieter. It doesn't have the jolt when you flick the throttle and stuff. I like it. I like it. On to the next part.